Today on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast, I put on my rucksack like a crazy person and go on the Stairmaster until I feel like I'm going to die. So there's a lot of death on that day. Leg days are not my favorite. I don't understand the women who are like, yay, it's leg day. I could do leg day every day. Heck no. I loathe leg day. Hey, my name is Leanne, and I'm fascinated with helping women navigate how to eat, move, and care for their bodies. This has taken me on a journey from vegan, keto, high protein to everything in between. I'm a small town holistic nutritionist turned 3-time international bestselling author turned functional medicine practitioner, offering telemedicine services around the globe to women looking to better their health and stop second-guessing themselves. I'm here to teach you how to wade through the wellness noise to get to the good stuff that'll help you achieve your goals. Whether you're seeking relief from chronic ailments, striving for peak performance, or simply eager to live a more vibrant life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindset, empowering you to make informed choices that support your unique health journey. Think of it as quality time with your bestie mixed with a little med school so you're empowered at your next doctor visit. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn about your body and how to care for it healthfully. Join me as we embrace vitality, reclaim our innate potential, and discover what it truly means to pursue healthfulness. Hello, welcome. Oh my goodness, it's 2025. I can't even comprehend that Y2K was 25 years ago. Remember that day? Remember how crazy that was? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then I just aged myself, right? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about workouts, the intentions that I have around my workouts. I get a lot of questions around how I know what to do, how long I've been doing it, and in 2025, I want to be really intentional with the conversations we're having here on the podcast. If you're a new listener, then you won't know. But if you've been listening for quite some time, you know that in the past, I've had a lot of guests on to educate us on various areas of health. But in 2025, at least until I run out of topics, which if you know me, I have a really hard time not talking. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. But if we run out of topics, then we'll bring guests back on. But for now, I want to be, again, intentional about the conversations that we're having, super in depth in a topic. And I really want you to be the guide of what you want to hear on the show. So last week, we talked about health burnout and some of the main reasons why I see individuals just give up on their health, the problems and struggles that we have in the functional wellness space, how to advocate for yourself, and just so much in that episode. Again, today I want to chat about weightlifting and the program that I follow and the intentions that I have around body recomp and those sorts of things. And then next week, we're going to be talking about personal style. And though this has very little to do with health, you would think, I've noticed that when I care for the way that I look and I put just a little bit of effort into the clothing that I'm wearing, it makes a very, very, very big difference to my emotional stability and just my ability to show up in a different way, which I really, really enjoy, kind of expressing the fun-natured individual that I am in the clothing that I choose to put on. And so I kind of want to go in depth around discovering your personal style. I've had lots of conversations with friends over the last couple of weeks and months on this very topic, and so many women struggle with this, the pressures of just what should I be wearing versus what I feel like wearing, and budget and just everything. So I want to break it down, and I've had a really fun time, also very stressful, going through what this looks like for the individual. So I'm excited to share what I've learned. And so when I'm saying I want you to help guide the podcast and the topics, I would love for you to send me a message on Instagram at Leanne Vogel and just let me know what you thought about today's episode, what you wish I would have covered, what you thought I blabbed on about. I'm totally game to shift things up or even do a part 2 on this if you have enough questions that I can make an episode out of it. If there are other areas that you're struggling with in your health and you want to get in contact with me, Instagram is usually the best way, but you can also send me an email by going to healthfulpursuit.com/contact, or you can send me an email directly, info@healthfulpursuit.com. So just like the way the podcast is spelled. I know it sounds like helpful pursuit, but it's not. It's healthful. If I could go back to 20, whatever that was, 2010, 2009. I don't even know. I wouldn't choose Healthful Pursuit, but here we are. And I've committed and it's too late for me. Okay. So if you haven't listened to my episode on going from 0 workouts to 6 days a week, I highly encourage you to listen to that, because if I'm sharing my training program today and you're like, Leanne, you're so hardcore, then you need to listen to that episode, because let me tell you, I am not hardcore. So that episode was episode 484. It released July 30th, 2024, and it's labeled How I Went from 0 Workouts to 6 Days a Week. So I'll kind of give you a highlight overview of that situation. I started working out in 2022 when my mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I realized that having muscle mass into my late 30s, into my early 40s would probably be a great idea. Many of the individuals in my family have struggled through neurological issues, and I just wanted to make sure that my muscle mass and my ability to just move my body was as dialed in as I could possibly make it. And so that was really the catalyst that drove me to start moving my body. And I started really slow. I started by walking, realizing like, oh my goodness, I thought I walked a lot. I did not walk at all. When I put a step tracker on, I was averaging about 2,000 steps a day. And when I started walking, I was dealing with like intense knee pain, ankle pain, like all the pains. It was not good. It was just such a struggle. And then, once I got dialed in with the walking, then I started doing bodyweight workouts with Nourish, Move, Love. I don't recommend her videos only because they're bouncing all over the place. I injured myself more times than I would like to admit. And it was just too fast paced, and I didn't see like any change at all. But what it did do is help me be consistent in the safety of my own home. So I could just commit to myself, commit to the process. 15 to 20 minutes once a week is where I started. And when I got up to 5 days a week, working out at home for 20 minutes, I started going to the gym. I got a program by Gains by Brains, I think it is actually. And I started off with her Gains by Brains Level Up Guide. And I did that for 12 weeks. And then I followed that up with the Level Up Guide Elevate. And I did that for 12 weeks. And then after that, after I felt really good going into the gym 4 to 5 days a week for about 45 minutes to an hour, I was like, okay, I think I need to hire somebody, because I don't push myself in areas where I know I need pushing, and I don't take it easy in areas where I know I should be taking it easy. So the first thing my coach did is tell me to stop working out 6 days a week. And I'm so glad that she did that, because wow, I really didn't need that. Do you want to make the most of your workouts? I've found something that works amazingly well. Now, I don't have any trouble hitting my daily protein goals. It's never been an issue for me, but I love using Kion aminos during my workouts. It's packed with all 9 essential amino acids in the perfect ratios, which help support muscle building, faster recovery, and even boost my endurance while I'm training. Now, Kion Aminos is fabulous for anyone who's also having a challenge getting to their protein goals. It has a similar amino acid profile as whey, which is also a really good option for those who are sensitive. What makes Kion Aminos different is how efficiently it's absorbed by the body. It delivers everything you need to keep your muscles fueled during and after your workout without any fillers or fluff. It's transparent, research-backed, and something I trust completely to enhance my performance. Adding it to my workout bottle has been a game changer for feeling strong and recovering faster, so I'm ready to hit the gym again the next day. Try it for yourself and save 20% with my link getkion.com/keto. With a 60-day money-back guarantee, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Get it? Muscle to gain. Again, that's getkion.com/keto. So we've actually had my coach on the show before. Her name is Lacey Dunn. She came on the show a little bit ago to talk about cortisol belly, episode 487 that was released on August 20th, 2024. So if you want to learn more about Lacey, head on over to that episode. She has walked with me through so many things. I think the first time I hired her was back in 2019. And so it's really cool. As a coach and a functional medicine practitioner, in fact, most of my clients are health coaches themselves. I would say probably 60 to 70% of my clients are working as health coaches. And it's crazy because we as health coaches, there's like a gray area around our own files and stuff that we have going on. And it's just so hard to see ourselves critically and to make the choices that we need to make. And so when it came to the workouts, like I mentioned previously, one of my biggest struggles, I think, is not pushing myself with the types of movements. So in my mind, I'll be like, okay, well, I just need to work my hamstrings once. I just need to work my quads once. I just need to work my calves once. Okay, I'm done. And I'll always avoid squats because I hate them. I'll always avoid like any sort of step ups because I hate them. Any sort of thrusting because I hate them. So you get the idea. And then I'll never program myself in a deload, meaning like I'll just keep going with a program for 12 weeks, no rest time. And when I'm vacationing, I'll still push it just as hard. And so it's good to have somebody else just being like, hey, Leanne, you should probably take a rest week or like a deload, or hey, Leanne, you should really program in some squats. And so it's just helpful for me to stay on point. So another piece, and we talked about this in last week's episode, another piece to managing your health is understanding what your goals are. And when I set out at the beginning of my workout process, my goal was to be consistent. I could have cared less about what I was doing. Like it was just walking. I was trying to be consistent with getting in a good amount of steps. I landed on 5,000 as being like a good goal. That was walking about 50 minutes a day. And I felt really good with where that was at. And thumbs up. And so that was my goal initially. When I started doing the Nourish, Move, Love workouts, it was consistency. I didn't really care what I was doing, how I was doing it. Again, I saw no results with that, no increase in strength, could care less. It was just about, can I commit to doing a workout at this time, show up, do it? Great. When I moved into the gym and I started doing that, again, at that point, the goal shifted a little bit. It was, can I be consistent with going into the gym at a specific amount, like volume? And then also, can I start to learn some of these lifts that it's been quite some time that I've done any of this? So when I was a teenager, I did work out quite considerably. I was a dancer, and my mom was really heavily into lifting. And yeah, so it was kind of like I knew how to do a shoulder press and a squat, but it had been a pretty long time. And when I was overcoming an eating disorder and trying to put on muscle and eat more, I did get into lifting, but due to an injury and a pretty substantial mold issue, I had to stop working out and running and all of that. So yeah, I knew kind of some things, but it had been a good amount of time that my goal when I went back into the gym was to just get familiarized myself with the machines and the structure. Okay, so do you see, I'm not even thinking like, I'm going to get 6-pack abs. Wasn't even part of the plan. It was just, can I be consistent and can I get more comfortable around machines? Around the time where I hired Lacey, I wanted to start to develop more of my skills in those lifts, start to push myself more with the lifting that I was doing. And so that initial program was really geared toward starting to add super sets and starting to understand, what my max lifts were on my lat pull downs and just getting comfortable with the weight that I was doing. And it's cool. I'm looking at a program from August 2023. That's when I hired Lacey and I started working on my program with her and getting more serious around the lifting, to where my goal was then, okay, like let's recomp my body and start to notice some changes in my muscles. Just looking at some of these weights, like a dumbbell shoulder press was at 15 pounds. I'm now consistently doing 30. Lat pull downs was at 70 pounds at 10 reps. Now I'm doing about 105. And so it's cool to see these numbers change over time, but it wasn't an overnight thing. And it actually blows my mind how long how long it takes, but this was about a year, let's call it like 14 months ago. And it's cool to look over these old programs. I really encourage you, if you don't, save your programs so you can look back on them and be encouraged, because, oh my goodness, this is so interesting that I could only do an RDL of 50 pounds total. And now I'm doing, what is that? 90-pound RDL on one leg with a B stance. So that's just really, really, really cool to kind of see the progression through this. But when I started that program initially, it was really, okay, I want to start building some muscle. I want to see what that feels like. And we were playing around with bulking and cutting. And I just learned through that process, I don't love the cutting process. It's really triggering for me. It's really challenging for me to limit the amount of food that I'm eating and feel hungry. I think it just brings up a lot of old eating disorder, like emotions that I'm just not ready to deal with. I'm not sure if I'll ever, never say never, because chances are I'll probably do it sometime this year. Maybe unintentionally when I do Patagonia and I starve to death because they don't give me enough food, but I don't do well feeling underfed. And so a big shift actually in my training goals from 2023 to 2024, especially the latter half of 2024, I really wanted to build on strength. I really wanted to be able to look at that program from 2023 and be like, wow, all my weights are like substantially increased. And for sure, like, yes, most definitely they've increased quite a lot. And some places, just looking at this, like lat pull downs with palm facing in, I've had a really, really hard time with that. I'm literally at the same weight. And so that gives me an understanding of where I might need to coach up certain areas and where we need to focus. But over the last couple of months here, well, I shouldn't say couple of months, the strength goal really started around June of 2024. So it's been going on for quite some time. I decided that I really just wanted to like eat a lot and train. And so we determined kind of my body weight had gotten down to, I think like when I first started working out, I think I was sitting around 180. By the time I went through my cut, I had gotten down to like 145. And I didn't love the way I looked at that. And I just didn't feel comfortable. Like another big question to ask yourself as you undergo all of these different goals and body composition is like, what's easiest for me on a day-to-day basis? And though I still weigh and measure most of my food to make sure that I'm eating enough, it's very different to weigh and measure your food to make sure that you're not eating too much. Do you see the differentiation? For me, it's like, for example, right before I jumped on this episode, I was like, oh, it's been an hour. It's been 2 hours since I ate. I still have like 900 calories to have for the rest of the day if I really want to give it my all for training tomorrow. So I'm going to have like a 300 calorie bar to just make sure that I can get through the evening and not be super stuffed before bed. And I would rather have that in my mind as opposed to, it's been 2 hours since I ate. I'm kind of snacky now, but if I eat now, I won't be able to have dinner and then I'll be hungry. Like I can't live that life. No, absolutely not. So that's really been my goal, is to make sure that I am eating substantially, lots. So when I was at my lowest weight, my maintenance at around that weight was around 2,000 calories a day. Now I'm consistently sitting around 154. I feel very good at this weight, like super good at this weight. It's very quote unquote easy to maintain. I maybe go up or down like 3 or 4 pounds, like if we go to Disney or whatever, and then it comes back down nicely. And like, I don't worry about it. And I'm eating like average. I think let me just look at it. Yeah, I'm averaging like 27 to 2,800 calories a day. And that's well beyond my maintenance. I think I'm about 600 calories over maintenance and I'm maintaining at that amount. So having the metabolic flexibility is super important to me. My whole goal with this is like, how much can I possibly eat to build the most amount of muscle while feeling good in my body and not being restricted? And like I said, I don't know if that goal will change. The goal has shifted slightly from my let's build as much strength as possible, which may not convert into like actual muscle that looks like muscle, because I do have fat on my body. I have more fat on my body now than I did a year ago, but I also prefer it for just like how I am. And it comes at a cost. If I wanted to be 145 pounds, again, it would come at a cost of weighing and measuring everything to make sure that I don't eat too much. Okay. Right now it's weighing and measuring everything to make sure I eat enough. And that, let me tell you, it just feels better in my brain. I sleep better. I don't have stress around all the macro stuff. It's just, okay, I just want to make sure I hit my 200 grams of protein. I want to make sure that I really eat enough carbs, and I want to make sure I eat enough fat. So it's just a very, very different process. And so since I shared this on a previous podcast episode, I am hopefully going to be hiking the O Trek in Patagonia in March. Why I say hopefully is I've been dealing with a little bit of an injury on my foot that comes and goes, and I've been doing all the physical therapy and it's just coming and going like it has a mind of its own. So I'm hoping that my foot will be ready for this, because you kind of need your feet to hike 120 kilometers in 8 days. So my goal for Patagonia is to really, really, really focus on endurance. I did a lot of Azores trails in September, and one of the biggest challenges I had was cardiovascularly. I wasn't ready. I really, really struggled cardiovascularly to like do the hikes well. And it really limited my experience because I was really struggling. Like the Sierra Nevada mountains in Spain were very, very challenging for me. I did it, but it wasn't like pleasant because I was huffing and puffing, and it was just really, really, really hard, and it didn't need to be. And there were 2 treks in Azores that were just very, very challenging, and I had to keep taking breaks, more breaks than I would have wanted to. And so it was really important because I'll be hiking in a group for Patagonia. I wanted to be able to keep up with the group and not be the person that's like dragging everyone behind because I'm going too slow. And I also just wanted to be an enjoyable time. And so my strength program, which was, I'll bring it up so I can compare them because it's really hard to keep it all straight in my mind. So my strength program, for example, my RDLs were in the rep range of 8. Now my RDLs for endurance are in a rep range of 10. For strength, my Smith reverse lunges were 8. Now for endurance, they're 10. For strength, leg curls, it was 8 to 10, and now it's 12. Okay, so as the rep range increases, the weight is usually going to decrease, okay? And as the rep range decreases, the weight's going to increase. So for example, with my lying leg curls, if I'm only doing 8 to 10 of them, I'm probably going to have the weight around 85 pounds, but lying leg curls, if I'm doing 12 or so of them, it's probably going to be like 65, 75 pounds, 65 to 70 pounds ish. Okay, does that make sense? So you really need to understand your goal, because just going into the gym and saying, I have a strength goal, but then doing the exact opposite of what that is, you're not going to get the results you want. And then you're going to be like, well, what the heck? Or if you have a body composition goal and you're wanting to like have big muscles and you're eating all the things and doing a strength program, then you're going to be disappointed because the things that you're doing are not going to equate to the goals that you have. And so we talked about this last week, that really understanding what your goals are. So in the case of my endurance program now, that's absolutely kicking my butt. The number of reps are higher. I have cardio after almost every workout, which is super fun. I love that for me. Just kidding. I hate it. But I know that in 3 months, when I'm hopefully climbing that mountain for the 5th day in a row, getting 20 kilometers in, I won't be struggling, hopefully. Okay. So that's really the goal. And so am I going to realize that goal right away? Well, I might notice, 30 days from now, my step climber with my rucksack on isn't going to be as hard, or, the 50 walking lunges I do before the Stairmaster isn't going to be as brutal, or those sorts of things. Or I'm doing glute focused step downs right now that are just kicking my butt. Ideally, in 2 or 3 months, they won't be kicking my butt as much, or I'll be able to increase the weight and not die. Okay. As someone who prioritizes fitness and staying active, I've been amazed at how much MitoPure has helped me recover from my workouts. Before, I used to feel wiped out after a tough session, but now I bounce back faster and feel ready to take on more. It's powered by urolithin A, a groundbreaking postbiotic that promotes cellular renewal by clearing out old, worn-out mitochondria and recharging your cells. Since I started taking it, I've noticed stronger workouts, quicker recovery, and more energy to tackle whatever the day brings. And here's the best part. Even without changing my exercise routine, I've seen noticeable improvements in strength and endurance. If you're looking to truly follow through on your New Year's goals, this is the foundation you need. Right now, Timeline is offering 33% off your order of MitoPure. Don't wait. This is your year to be your most energized, revitalized self. Go to timeline.com/KDP33. That's TIMELINE.com/KDP33. So it's really important that we understand our goals. I'll kind of take you through my program because I know that that can be helpful to just hear kind of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Okay, so my current program, which is endurance focus with a little bit of strength looped in there. So the endurance aspect of this, again, is that most of my lifts have a higher rep range than a strictly strength-based program would be. So therefore, my weight is going to be a little bit lower because I'm doing more reps than it would be on a strict like strength-based program. Also, because there's an endurance aspect, my cardio is in the program, whereas I have not done any cardio at all. I feel like lifting itself is cardio. I don't know about you, but after squats, I am out of breath. After any sort of lunges, out of breath. I don't need any cardio on top of that. Thank you very much. But because I plan on wearing a pack on my back for a bunch of days in a row, hiking up mountains, it's pretty important that I have some cardio in there. And my body has responded pretty good to this program, but I need a substantial more food, probably at least 300 calories more of food a day. So we're just trying to figure out what that looks like because I haven't been performing as well. And I think it's because I'm just not feeling as well. And so that's what I mean. I would far prefer being like, oh no, Leanne's not eating enough as opposed to eat less because I hate that. I hate that. Okay. So my program is broken up into 5 days. I have 2 leg days and 3 upper days. I hit each muscle group twice a week. Okay. So I don't do a bro split where it's like shoulders once a week and then back once a week. And then no. Mm-mm. So lower, I warm up. That takes about 5 or 10 minutes. And then I do abductions just to activate my glutes. I have a very weak posterior chain. Anytime the front of my body is allowed to take over, it will happily, except my traps, which continue to grow at an alarming rate. They just take everything away from every other muscle. We're working on that. But yeah, so the abductions are truly just there to activate my glutes so that when I do the superset of barbell squats and B-stance RDL, my glutes are ready to go. And I've noticed a big change there. Like I can actually feel my glutes in the squats and feel my glutes in the RDL. So I really have to activate them. Then I do some leg press and some glute focused back extensions, followed by hip thrust and glute focused step downs. And then I superset lying hamstring curls with leg extensions. And then I do a burnout of walking lunges until I feel like I'm going to die. It usually is about 50. And then I put on my rucksack like a crazy person and go on the Stairmaster until I feel like I'm going to die. So there's a lot of death on that day. Leg days are not my favorite. I don't understand the women who are like, yay, it's leg day. I could do leg day every day. Heck no. I loathe leg day. No. But when it's upper day, I'm so chipper. I'm ready. I'm like good to go. So the next day is upper. I start off with a superset of cable lat pull downs, followed by a single arm high cable row. I stinking love this movement. I could do it until I'm blue in the face. I love it. I love the single arm high cable row. I love any kind of single arm row, actually. Then I superset the neutral grip cable row with a dumbbell bent over raise. And then I superset a wide grip seated row with I usually do single arm rear delt fly. This is when you like face sideways on the machine. That is killer. Love that. Then superset the lat pull downs with the palm facing in. That's what I'm talking about. Man, that movement has not changed in weight in like really long time. I broke my wrist in a snowboard accident quite some time ago, and it limits some of my movements. Like front squat, can't do it. Palms facing in, lat pull downs, good luck. But you take some and you give some and you lose some, or whatever the saying is. I follow that up with the superset of the dumbbell lateral raises, and then a superset of the dumbbell curls and plate curl burnout, which actually does totally burn me out. And then abs. So with abs, I just kind of like have a group of movements that I just choose from. Like I know leg raises work really well. Side plank dips work really well for me. Crunch with weight overhead works really well for me. Cable crunches are awesome and really activate. Slow bicycles activate. As long as I keep my lower back really pinned to the floor and I do one leg at a time, because my lower back and my QLs really like to just power over. I really have to be careful with my ab work. And so I take my time with that. So after I've done that upper, I take a rest day and then I do another upper. So that one has dumbbell shoulder press with standing lateral raises, followed by an upright row. This one just murders me. And then I do a superset with an incline shoulder press, plate front raise, and then a superset with barbell bench press and face pulls, and then a triset with machine shoulder press and mountain climbers with plank. So why the machine shoulder press and shoulder press on the same day? I really like using the machine shoulder press to work on form. I go on the machine actually backwards, and it really, really helps me focus on getting the depth of movement that sometimes I shy away from when I'm holding the dumbbells. So this is almost like a workshop for me. And then I follow up that day with some abs. And then it's lower day again. Woo, my favorite day. Kidding. Hate it. It's so hard for me. I warm up my legs a lot, strictly through the activation of the glutes. I think because I have really long femurs, I just have such a hard time with any sort of glute focus workout. Like, yeah, it's a real struggle for me. So any sort of activation in the glutes is necessary in order to do a good leg day. So I start with some cable pull throughs, which activate the top shelf like really, really well for me. And I've actually seen like really good growth through this, and the lack of activation in my QLs, which is really good throughout the rest of the day. To just like really get those glutes firing. So my glutes are like, oh yeah, duh, we can do this movement. We don't need to rely on the lower back to do it. Imagine that. So then I do pendulum squat with banded clamshells. Again, those clamshells are just there to activate the glutes. Like so much of this is, remember glutes, do what you're supposed to do, like get to work. Then I do Smith reverse lunges with lying hamstring curls, followed up by a superset of RDLs and goblet squats. This is a lot of workshop for me because the heels are elevated and I just have a struggle with my knees on this one. So that's strictly there to work on knee strength for likely what will be a lot of hiking downhill. And then I superset it with some leg extensions and curtsy lunges. And then I do a leg burnout on the Stairmaster. And then I follow that up by another upper body. This is kind of like full upper body. So it hits like all the places. So lat pull downs, cable flies, neutral grip, cable row, dumbbell shoulder press, single arm grip seated row. Oh, that reminds me. I did it too heavy last time. So, hey, while we're here, I'm just going to edit that to remind myself that was too much weight last time. Done. Okay. While I'm doing the single arm wide grip seated row, which I love doing with the plates. Dang, I love that. And see, my old gym didn't have that. So I'm so thankful that I switched. I do the easy bar curl. So that has been a slow progression, let me tell you, on those stupid bar curls. But I'm getting there. I just picked up the 40-pound bar a couple weeks ago, and I'm consistently hitting 10 reps. So yay. Supersetting machine pec fly and doing pull-ups, which one day I'll actually be able to do a pull-up. This is the hardest thing. And then I superset some tricep rope extensions and dumbbell lateral raise. And I've been doing those leaning. the most fabulous human, Jeff Niepert, he's Canadian too. He talks a lot about how to maximize growth and performance, really, and gains on just standard lifts. And he did one on the lateral raise. And so I started doing those angled, and I've noticed a lot of progression through that. And then I finished the day up with abs. So every day that I'm not doing the Stairmaster, I'm doing walking with a rucksack on an incline. And I think we're probably going to add some sort of running to this, maybe. Ew, yuck. But I do really love running. I just need more food in order to run. So I hope that sharing that has been helpful for you and not just blah, blah, blah. I think what I would like for you to take away from our conversation today was know your goal. Like if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to build strength, this is the program I'm on, I'd be like, this is not a strength program. I mean, there's strength aspects, but this is an endurance program. And, my previous strength program, if somebody were to say, I want to focus on endurance, I'd be like, this is not the program for you. So it's really important to understand, what are my goals? In my experience, if I didn't have the Patagonia goal, like I think after Patagonia, what I've thought about throughout the summer is actually to lower my volume. I'm kind of craving that, but I know that with the Patagonia goal, I just want to get through this. But once I do Patagonia, I was thinking about lowering my volume down to like 3 days a week and just doing kind of a maintenance for a little while. And then I'll start building again in the fall. I've kind of played around with that idea. And so I think you can get some pretty good results doing 3 days a week. For me, 3 days a week is really challenging because it's just so not a part of my life that the decisions that I make on a day-to-day, the foods that I'm eating, they're just not supporting my movement. Whereas if I do a 5-day program, even if one of those days I'm only in the gym for 30 minutes, it at least reminds me of what my goals are, why I'm doing things, and just sets up the structure of my life in regards to my goals a lot better. And that just works for me. Like my previous strength program was 4 days a week, and I really struggled with staying focused and motivated, only going to the gym 4 days a week. And when I would get there, I just didn't want to be there, and it really sucked because I just wasn't there enough, if that makes sense. And so I personally really like the 5 days a week, but that might not work for you. And you really need to, one, determine how much you can commit to. If you haven't worked out in 3 years and you think you're just going to go to the gym and do 5 days a week right out the gate, there's no way that you're going to be consistent with that. At least, gosh, I would not. And you need to have grace for yourself and understanding like what can I commit to? What's realistic? Like, for example, I asked a client the other day, could we add, one family meal? Like, how often could we add family meals to your program? Like, how often can you sit down and eat with your family instead of eating in the car? And she said, realistically, 2 nights a week. I'm like, okay, let's start with 1. Let's set the goal for 1. And if you do that over the next 2 weeks, let's hit 2. So it's really like, what realistically can you commit to? It's not a race. It's far better if you are consistent with little, so that as you add on things, you're consistent with the next and the next and the next and the next. So that was a big piece to my programming. Another part is the step goal. So the more you walk, the more you need to eat. And my step goal used to be 11,000 steps a day, which works out to just be like too much food. Like I said, I'm 600 calories over my maintenance and maintaining at that amount. So when I started adding more steps, like I needed an extra 900 calories. It was just too much. Like I was just eating too much. And now with all of this cardio and stuff, I'm starting to lose weight and I'm lacking in energy. And so we're going to have to add more food. And so you kind of there was this reel the other day, and it was like this chick talking about cutting and then realizing that now that she's done her bulk and her body weight is different and she has more muscle mass, she like needs to eat so much more. And I feel that so deeply. It's like eat, eat, eat. And so it's that nice freedom feeling for sure, but it can kind of get out of hand. So if you're wanting to build strength and you're hitting, say, 11,000 steps in the day and you're wondering like, why aren't my muscles growing? Well, it's probably because A, you're not eating enough, and or B, you're moving too much. And so if you reduce the movement in the form of walking, then all the food that you're eating is going to go toward the muscle building. Not saying that you can't do either or, but something's got to give. And so when I was hitting 11,000 steps and working out and I wasn't seeing progression, actually dropping my steps down to like 8,000 or 9,000 while maintaining the amount of food that I was eating gave me more energy for my lifts, more build in my muscle. And that hit my goals more than walking, which I enjoy doing. And I enjoy hiking and those things, but like walking in my community is not like fun to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that help? So it's like, really being intentional with why am I doing this? Why is this important? And does it actually move me toward my goal? What is my goal? What do I want? It can't be this and this and this and this. Just choose like one or two things. Okay. Like I said, at the initial stage, it was, I just want to be consistent. I want to show myself that I can commit to doing this thing and I'm going to do it. And then when I know that I can do it, I'll add on to it. Do you know what I'm saying? So yes. I hope that this was helpful. If you want me to answer more, if you feel like I didn't answer XYZ or you need more support, at Leanne Vogel on Instagram, or you can send me a direct email, healthfulpursuit.com/contact, or you can email info@healthfulpursuit.com. I'm so glad that we got to hang out today. Happy 2025, and we will see you back here for another episode next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Healthful Pursuit Podcast. Join us next Tuesday for another episode of the show. If you're looking for free resources, there are a couple of places you can go. The first to my blog, healthfulpursuit.com, where you're going to find loads of recipes. The second is a free parasite protocol that I've put together for you that outlines symptoms, testing, and resources to determine whether or not you have a parasite, plus a full protocol to follow to eradicate them from your life if you need to. That's available at healthfulpursuit.com/parasites. And last but certainly not least, a full list of blood work markers to ask your doctor for so that you can get a full picture of your health. You can grab that free resource by going to healthfulpursuit.com/labs. The Healthful Pursuit Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified health practitioner with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.